Yo, what's up, HikiKid08 here, and today I'm going to be talking about programs I use to make videos. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I may have spoken about this before, but I think what I actually spoke about was programs I use to play games, like Steam and PlayNite and Locale Emulator. So this will be a bit more useful to people who actually want to make YouTube videos. Whatever. So I have quite a big list here, well a decently sized list here at least. So I'm going to start off with a program that I only recently, and by that I mean today, which today is the 7th of the 5th, 2023. Yes, I know I'm dating my videos again, I'm aware. But recently I started using this program called Sonic Mania Title Card Generator Plus. Now I literally only downloaded this program today. I've heard about it, I've seen it before, but I only downloaded it today because I was like, I don't really need it, or other retarded things that I just want to fucking kill my past self for. But if you can't tell, essentially what it does is it generates Sonic Mania title cards. And what do I mean by a title card? Because for some people that might not mean a single thing. Well, you know, when you start Sonic Mania, it shows that, oh, it's blah 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 zone. Act 1, it's that. Now you might be asking, why Sonic Mania title cards? Well, here's the thing. Some of you may have already guessed that, yes, this video was originally going to be another video which I pushed back a few days because I hate having to keep a schedule and I fucking want to die. All I'll tell you is that it's Sonic related. Not what it is, but that it is Sonic related. And I essentially just made a bunch of title cards just to say, hey, this is the next game. But yeah, this is a nice little program and it really makes transitions a lot easier, especially when you can just make anything look like Sonic Mania. The tool itself is fucking amazing. I don't know how they made it, but it's made in like GameMaker Studio, and there's so much customizability. You can completely change the color of it, completely customizable. For some reason there's also a .exe mode because it just changes everything to red and black. Fucking Virtual Boy. Okay, so the next one is a bit more obvious, and it's OBS Studio, also known as Open Broadcasting Software. Now, of course, if you're going to start up on YouTube, that is pretty much the software that you will use to record. Although, to be perfectly honest, it's not exactly the most light software. Like, even on that laptop with like 8 gigs of RAM and 2.3 gigahertz of CPU, even on that, it would still constantly give me encoder overloaded issues. So it isn't exactly friendly on laptop users, as some of you may or may not remember from every video prior to getting this PC. But yeah, so OBS also isn't the most user-friendly when it comes to actually setting it up. It really isn't. Like, when it comes to setting it up, you need to know exactly how to set it up. It doesn't automatically scale the actual video. Like, if you're playing a game in 4:3, it'll stretch the footage. It'll literally just capture over the entire thing unless you specifically shrink it down. But it doesn't actually remove the borders. Because I remember ages and ages ago using like Loilo, for example. Some of you may remember Loilo. Some of you may even remember me actually using Loilo. Although I can imagine absolutely zero of you even watched me back in the day when I used Loilo, because I quickly used Fraps. And some of you probably don't even remember what Fraps is. But yeah, like something like Loilo, I believe even Fraps as well, would record in a proper resolution. But OBS doesn't. It just stretches everything, so you have to, you know, shrink it down yourself. So it's not exactly the most user-friendly program. You do have to have someone who knows how to set it up for you if you are absolutely confused. But I do still recommend it if you have a decent PC and you have a decent know-how of technology. Okay, so the next one is a bit of a weird choice, and it's VideoPad Video Editor, which is the video editor of choice. Now specifically I am using an extremely outdated version, which is version 3.81. Mostly because it's easier to pirate. But yeah, so I've been using this exact same program and this exact same version since 2015. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you, this is not the best video editing software at all. It's actually kind of terrible. It crashes constantly, but it has one good thing, and it's that if it crashes, it won't just delete your project. Because I know that some people have been like,
oh, Adobe Premiere crashed and I lost all of my progress, or I lost my entire project because I forgot to save.
Although it probably crashes a hell of a lot more than something like Adobe Premiere, because that's like professional grade software. This is like garbage. Now, there's a much newer version of this, and if you're going to use VideoPad, I would probably recommend actually purchasing the most recent version, although it's like quite expensive. But it's also kind of not good. Like, I've literally made a video on that, which you can watch right here if you really, really want to, where I explained why I hate modern VideoPad. And I still do. I still genuinely hate modern VideoPad, and I go into it more here. But yeah, so it's just a simple video editor. You don't get, like, the major effects, like, hell, you don't even get motion blurring. You just get, like, basic effects. Now, I've already done a video on this in particular, but it's Paint.net. So if you don't know what this is, it's a paint program like MS Paint, except instead of MS Paint, it's a lot better because you get a lot more features. Now, I am also using Pyrochild's add-ons. Okay, so I suppose I should actually elaborate more on this, because I had a bunch of other things to say, and I was just rambling. So I took this picture earlier. It's a pretty ordinary picture of myself.
But not for long!
So I'm not really going to bother like upping the contrast or anything, I'm just going to go right into it. So you can see like different effects, like random effect, that's a new thing. So you can see that tools is new, see all these little plugins, which is like, it's a new thing. It says like Zach Walker aka Pyrochild. So if I go to Liquify, there's a high chance if you've seen anything online you might have seen Photoshop in the past. I know for a fact you must have seen this effect before. Now, there's also like smudging and everything where you can just basically do this kind of thing where it's like for smoothing out certain things, or just, I mean, it's more, the Liquify tool is what you use to like stretch out things. Then of course there's Grid Warp, which I have no idea what Grid Warp even is. Yeah, you can see like I've got a bunch of different things, like, Jesus. Yeah, sure. But yeah, you can add borders, or outlines, sorry. I keep saying borders. And of course there's the trail, which just trails off the image. But yeah, you get a shit ton of effects with this. It's really good. I do genuinely recommend this with Pyrochild plugin, Paint.net. Again, everything is linked in the description. I was supposed to just also mention why it's called Paint.net. You might be thinking, oh, it's the website, the Paint.net, even though the website is actually GetPaint.net. The reason it's called Paint.net is because it is coded in C#, which is Microsoft's .net. Not Microsoft.net, not a website. .net is basically just programming stuff. It's .net. That's literally what it's called. It's not website.net. It's literally just called .net. So anyway, let's move on. Okay, the next one is a bit less important, but still pretty important to me. It's task code. Now, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before. So basically what it is that it's basically a check mark of anything you want to do. But in particular, I use it as a video backlog. So in other words, if I have a video that's been recorded, I set it as an active task. If it's been fully edited and it's ready to render, then it'll be set as a check, that kind of thing. You can also add subtasks as well. So if, say for example, the video you're recording is multiple games, like you want the name of the video, but then the video is multiple games, or you have multiple parts of a video. I'm not really good at explaining, but I do recommend using this. It is very, very useful for keeping track of everything I want to play. Like, I have a massive fucking list right here, and you can set dates and everything on it. Specifically, the dates that I've set are the dates of it being uploaded, not the date of me recording it, but the date of me uploading it. Now to quickly move on, this is another one that I recently started using, and it's called AvidEmux. AvidEmux. But essentially, whenever I record on this particular camcorder, you know how most devices these days will record in like MP4 or some lossy format, but not too lossy? Well, this particular camcorder records in MTS. Now, you may have never even heard of the MTS format, and I had never heard of it either until I found this fucking camcorder back in 2015. Now, the thing with MTS is that, I don't know, I think it might be a lossy format. Just a little lesson for those who don't know what lossy or lossless means. It's just the compression method. And in layman's terms, if you don't know what that means, it's the quality of the video. So in other words, it sacrifices quality for file size. But when running MTS files in like VideoPad, or hell, even something like MPCBE, it'll just abuse the fuck out of my RAM. It'll use so much more RAM than it needs to because of the format, because of the encoding or whatever. It's really weird. and it'll cause so many issues. So what I basically use Avid Emux for is quickly dropping that video into it and then remuxing it, that's the definition of remux here, into a different file format, specifically MP4. So it works better in video editors and other video players and everything, which it really does. It really does. Now you might be thinking,
But Pika, why don't you just render them in VideoPad?
well, because with VideoPad, that is actually rendering the video. Avid Emux is less of a video editor and more just a file format changing program. I mean, it touts itself as a video editor, but it's technically not even a video editor, or at least the Portable Apps Launcher touts it as a video editor, even though it's, again, it's more of a converter. So you just drop it in, and it'll probably remux it like 20 seconds. If I dropped it in a VideoPad and just re-rendered it, it would probably take a hell of a lot longer depending on the size of the video. Avid Emux, 20-30 seconds. It's not technically re-rendering the video, it's just changing the format. I don't understand how it works perfectly. Again, definition of remux right here. Also, this is probably taking so long even with speed ups that I have to add this in. Probably. If you're seeing this, that means I did add this in. Yes, I'm holding the camera really wobbly. But yeah, it's been 11 and a half minutes right now. And I literally walked out the room, went to the toilet, went downstairs, paced around for a short while, a very short while, came back, and it was like 15% done. What I'm basically trying to say is that rendering is not the exact same thing as remuxing. Re-rendering is not the same as remuxing. They're completely different. Also the fact that my CPU is maxed out to all hell, and the fact that my PC sounds like this. My fan sounds like this, rather. The next one is Audacity. Now Audacity is a pretty popular program and I'm sure everyone knows what Audacity is. Everyone's probably installed it at least once. Maybe you didn't know what it was, maybe it's just been pre-installed, maybe a family member installed it, but you've probably had it installed at least once somehow. To cut a long story short, Audacity is a program that allows you to edit sounds or edit music. Anything that's auditory. It allows you to splice, cut, or even add effects to audio. Now I tend to do this a lot with a lot of things that VideoPad cannot do with its built-in audio settings. Like for example, if I want to make myself sound really weird,
I'll make myself sound really weird by dropping the audio into Audacity. Now right now you're going to hear me very weirdly. That's because I edited the audio in Audacity.
you get so many different effects that you can't get in VideoPad in Audacity. And of course, if there isn't an effect you want, just download them from the internet, because you can literally just drop files in and say, hey, I want this filter. Download it, drop it into the files, use it. Like the BitCrusher one that I started using a while ago, the one that makes your audio sound awful crispy and absolutely terrible. It sounds like you're trying to play it on a fucking old console that doesn't support sound. God damn, my ears hurt. And the next one is Fast Stone Capture. Now what this one is that it is a snipping tool replacement. And if you have no idea what snipping tool is, it's a little program that you can use to cut a certain part of your screen out and then send that as an image. Although the built-in snipping tool is just trash. I hate the built-in snipping tool because it's so clunky, it's so slow, it's just terrible. So I use Fast Stone Capture as an alternative. But I mean, there's really not much to talk about with Fast Stone Capture because it's literally just snipping tool except better. Another one that I use is vocalremover.org, which is so useful for my older videos because, let's be perfectly honest, who in the right mind would constantly keep all of their source files for the videos, especially old videos? So of course, when you want to remove music or, oh, this music's too loud, I'm going to turn it down. How would you do that? You remove the vocals and just turn down the audio. So vocalremover.org is, from what I've seen, out of all of them, at least the ones that you don't have to sign up for, is probably the best, again, that you don't have to sign up for or pay for. AI Vocal Remover, although it has like this annoying thing where it's like, oh sorry, too much traffic coming from your IP address, and it's just, why? Of course it's not perfect, there are times where removed the vocals, and then it's like, you can still hear the music and the vocals, so it's not entirely perfect. So we'll move on to the final one, which is technically one that I've actually used for video editing, because I have done like tracking notes, and it is a program called Stickies. Now you might hear that word and think,
Oh, you mean Microsoft Sticky Notes?
and no, I do not mean sticky notes, I mean Stickies. Now if you've heard of sticky notes, you've likely used it a lot. You might realise that it's quite bulky, surprisingly, for being such a small program. At least on slower hardware, you might not have noticed it on a fucking gaming PC, but if you're on a slower hardware like a laptop or something, you might realise it's a lot slower and clunkier. Now with regular sticky notes, the only customization you can do is, you can change the font, you can change the colour between a few set colours. But with Stickies, you can change so much more. For example, if you want your sticky note to look like a Windows XP window, you can straight up do that with Stickies. And that's pretty much all of the main ones that I use to make videos. I mean, again, you could consider something like Discord because of the collaborations, but nah, I'm not considering that. Now, I have so many fucking programs that I use, like so many programs, so many websites. You don't need to use all of them, but if you want to make a decent video, you should at least use some of them. But of course, there are a few websites, not programs, websites that I use. Like there's one called like Pokemon Battle Creator or something. But essentially, you can just make fake Pokemon battles, and usually I just take the text at the bottom and just make it something else, like dumbass hurt itself in confusion. There's another one that I use as well, which is Big Huge Labs Motivator, which is how I do the demotivational posters like this. So anyway, I've been your host, Pika Kinane. It's been Pika Kinane Chat, and you've all been fantastic. So until the next video, I say bye bye.